You're tuned in to today's Live at 5. Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to remind you that this show is only possible because of the continued support of amazing people like you. You can continue to support us by subscribing to this YouTube channel, sharing an episode with a friend, or signing up to our Patreon page via the link in the description below. From there, you'll be able to access some exclusive bonus content and dive deeper into the world of Live at 5. Now, without any further ado, let's get right into today's show. We hope you enjoy. Hey there, and welcome to Live at 5 on this Thursday, April 23rd. It's a beautiful day in London again. I can't believe that I'm still saying this. However, 20 shows or so were in here. And we had a great show yesterday with Femi Colioso. And we have a great one coming up today with our special guest who is yet to be introduced. But we do have our very special, not any less special producer, Darcy O'Connor in Clapton. How's things looking your end, Darcy?
Oh, looking amazing out here today, Giacomo. The neighborhoods.
Oh, thank you. Did you say I was looking amazing today? I just put this on just before. I didn't know you.
You know that number does things to me.
Oh man, it's a nice wool shirt.
Nice wool shirt. Love a good wool shirt. I had a wool shirt on yesterday. Check out yesterday's episode to check out another nice wool shirt.
Amazing. Well, so today's special guest is somebody who I've known basically since I moved to London about 8 or 9 years ago, and in some ways the years have flown by, and in other ways the days have stood still. But this guy has been an inspiration to me for years now, and it's a real thrill to invite him on the show. And we're going to start out with a real trip down memory lane. And I hope not too many of you have seen this video, because it's really cool to compare, what Smitty's began as to what it is now. Because, it was just, when I look back at those days, I'm immediately transported to that time and place. So anyway, enough talking. This is Sweet Georgia Brown from Ronnie Scott's 7 years ago, with Pedro Segundo on drums, Mark Lewandowski on bass, Reuben Fox on tenor saxophone, Dave Archer on guitar, and our special guest, you guessed it, Reuben James on the piano, tearing it up. Let it rip, Darce.
Yeah.
And we're back live at 5, and that was just electric. That's electric, and it takes me right back to those days. And I want to introduce our guest. This is Mr. Reuben James, all the way from Birmingham. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very relaxed. I'm chill, man.
Amazing, amazing.
Thanks for having me, you guys. That video brought back some memories. I don't even remember that one.
You had no drink tokens left. They'd all gone, you'd eaten all of them.
Yeah, it was one of those nights. But yeah, especially when the band dropped out, I was like, oh God, here we go.
I know.
And
You
then,
sound so good, man.
oh, thanks, bro. I mean,
Beautiful.
everyone started clapping, so I was like, oh my God, I've got to stay in time now. What's going?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
But
that
yeah,
takes us back, doesn't it? I mean, well, that was right after we both moved to London. I mean, how
yeah.
old were you? You must have been
I was
how old?
like, I think I met you when I was 18,
God,
and
man.
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
18 or 19, and I remember we met upstairs at Ronnie's on a jam session, and we just started doing mad stuff, man. We'd be playing in the streets, Dalston, Brick Lane, playing
Yeah.
little duo gigs, trio gigs with Pedro, and he'd be playing on like some keys, and he
Do you
wouldn't even
remember
have a
that
drum
time? You
kit.
remember on the tube after New Year's Eve when you
That
got
was
that whole
wild.
subway car singing?
That was what I do have a video of that somewhere, but we just finished the gig at, where was it, the Savoy or something like
The
that?
Ritz, the
Oh
Ritz.
yeah, the Ritz, oh darling. We were playing at the Ritz, and then we got on the tube and we started a party, man, on the tube. That was, bro, man, that was some good days, man. Theon on the tube, we'd be, oh, bro, do you remember this one? When we played in that Peckham Arts Club.
Peckham Liberal Club. I found some
Bro,
videos of that today.
that
That
was one of the
was
first ever Smitty's gigs.
Yeah. That
And
so this video that we just showed is pre Smitty's. That's when we were all getting together, you know? That's the
yeah,
DNA, you know?
man, that was how it all began. So organic. It was such a movement, still is a movement, man. Bro, I can't believe someone took a poo at the gig, man, on the floor. That's how good the gig was. Someone shat themselves at the gig.
And we'll never be able to forget that. But before we go to that, I just want to ask you, you know, because before you moved to London, you
Yeah.
are one of the most talented guys I've ever met in my life. You got it all
Thanks,
going on.
bro.
And when but when you sit down at the piano, that's when you make people cry. You know, it's an amazing thing that you do. And I just wanted to ask you, when you were growing up, you know, how did you
Mhm.
find the piano, and who was your piano hero? You know?
Um, well, my sister was really good, and she's like nearly 10 years older than me, so she was
She's
way
the
ahead.
best. She is a
Uh,
hero.
she's everybody's here, man. Everyone loves my sister. She's the best, man. And basically, I don't know. I was a toddler when I used to sit on her lap and just kind of bang on the keys, and she'd show me some stuff, and then I just started hugging the piano practice time, basically, because I just wanted to get better than her. that was literally all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be sick at the piano, and
Wow.
I remember she took me to see John Legend, and I got to meet him, and I was only about 12 or 13, and that was big for me because I was like, oh, you can play piano and it can be cool, because
Yeah.
at the time it didn't seem that cool to me. I was playing violin and piano and I wasn't the coolest. So then I saw John Legend up on stage and you could hear pin drop, and he sung Ordinary People, and I was like, man, maybe this is cool after all. And then
Mm.
I remember I had some classical lessons and I couldn't read music, and I was trying to give up piano, and my mom tried to beat me up. She was like, you're not giving up the piano. My mom's like, she
I
could be
know,
very
you listen. When
persuasive.
she talks, you listen.
So I was like, man, well, I don't like playing classical music and I can't read and it's a struggle, and my teacher thinks I suck, and I suck. What can I do? And then my dad had this old collection of CDs called the Black Box of Jazz, the white and the
Wow.
black box of jazz, and like I remember he showed us. I was like, "Why didn't you show them this before? Why didn't you show me this before?" And he was like, "Oh, you weren't ready. You weren't ready yet." And then, literally, it just had a compilation of loads of different things from Ahmed Jamal to Oscar Peterson. Then I fell in love with those guys early on, and
Mhm.
and Herbie, and then I think when I was in high school, like 14, I started getting into Robert Glasper, and that really was kind of huge for me because I was like, okay, so there's some young guys that are kind of playing music and mixing it in with the gospel R&B inflections, and that's my roots really. So that kind of made me think, man, maybe I want to do this. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
So
man.
no
Yeah.
backup plans, and yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna do this. This is the coolest thing in the world, man, and I love it, man, every day.
Yeah, yeah, and we love to listen to you for sure.
Thanks, bro.
The influences in your playing are many, and I hear Errol Garner, and I hear Jonathan Baptiste, and I hear Glasper, and I hear the bop pianist, the Wynton Kellys, and everything. But I want to talk a little bit about your new music, that you're putting out now, because it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit like
Different.
with it's different, and it's
Yes.
different in a good way because we were talking to Femi about this yesterday, and he said, I love Art Blakey and I love Philly Joe, but and I love Max, but I realized a long time ago that nobody does Max better than Max, so why would I do that? I'm going to do Femi,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
when I hear your music, I also hear you, and the new single for people who haven't checked it out yet is called My Line, and what's that about? That's only about three weeks old, right?
Yeah, it's been out for 3 weeks and the response has been crazy. There's been this My Line challenge thing going on, where I dropped the instrumental as well, and musicians, rappers, poets, dancers, everyone's been doing all these challenges, and it's just the song has just it's had this life, and it's amazing for me. I feel like it's my first real release that's kind of encapsulated, the groove, hard R&B, hard beats, but then with the jazz, acoustic, with the Hammond, the piano, and then Soweto Kinch playing on top, Vula singing harmonies. I just basically just tried to get the Avengers in and take all my favorite elements of all my favorite genres, and it's been hard. It's been a many years of trial and error of making
Mm,
pop tunes, making dance tunes, making you know I think it was being a younger man, I'd be like, okay, now I'm doing a jazz vibe, now I'm doing an El Ghana vibe, now I'm doing this vibe. But now that I'm grown and I've lived life, and I've been around the world, you start to realize nothing, it doesn't matter. Just like
yeah,
take everything you like and whatever sounds good, whatever feels good, you know. And that's the kind of music I'm trying to make right now. Just, I'm trying to do it in like acoustic music, but in a modern way so that it still bangs. You can crank the speakers and feel the bass, feel the drums, with that
yeah,
jazz harmony and me singing on top. So
the
it's
best.
it's it's nice to be experimenting in this new way, and kind of coming into my own. I feel like it's been a long time coming, and yeah, I'm really enjoying my music. That's what really matters. I'm happy with what I'm making right now. So, and
Yeah.
and people seem to be liking it, so I'm really grateful that people are checking it out.
Well, it's contagious, I mean, if they hear you enjoying it and it comes through, on the
Hmm.
records,
Yeah.
then they're going to enjoy it as well. It's that
Yeah, and
simple.
honesty as well, to make talking about you know using lyrics and based on personal experiences and stories, and it really connects with people, because and especially putting music out at this time where everyone's at home, and
Mm,
especially through the challenge and things like that, everyone's feeling so connected to music right now, and it's kind of, it's always been the savior, but now more than ever it's really important to be
yeah.
putting out some dope music. So yeah, that's the vibe.
Well, we're going to jump into another blast from the past, and then do some more talking. We hope you enjoy this one. This is from Ronnie Scott's as well, because we basically lived there for about 2-3 years, and
Ooh.
this one is another early Smitty's, thing with Reuben on piano, Ferg Ireland on bass, Pedro Segundo on drums, and Dave Archer on guitar. Yeah. And this is, I think this is some blues. I don't even know which blues. We were just probably playing because we didn't know any heads,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But this is an early Smitty's on some blues at Ronnie Scott's. You're listening to Live at 5 with special guest Reuben James, and here we are on the blues. And we're back live at 5. That was Ronnie Scott 7 years ago. Reuben James on the piano, sounding killer on that blues.
Uh-oh.
You are the man. And I know that I could see that you are you are a hat aficionado there. So if you want to change throughout the interview, I brought some gear as well, so we can have some fun. If you want, we can even do some rotation. All that. It all looks
Actually,
good.
talking of Ronnie Scott, Sally Green got me this one in the corner.
No way.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
That's amazing.
Oh,
Oh,
that is a nice.
that's a keeper. That one is a
Yeah,
keeper.
definitely a
I like
keeper,
your
man.
style. So something I love about you, and you know, we were talking about it just before we played that, is that you know, not only are you you know, an incredible player and you know, composer of music, but you love to bring people together. You know, the whole thing about your new records, like you were saying, you know, you have special guests, you know, Soweto Kinch, you have Vula, you have Keon Harold, you have Chris Dave, and I, you know, I've always admired that, and I wonder what inspired you to be that kind of band leader. You know, what you think about when you're putting people in a room as a producer or a composer.
You know, now that you say that, I think obviously about Quincy, and from when I first got in the industry, I've always been a people person. I'm always about relationships and friends and bringing in my family. And it's like, my thing is, you know, why am I gonna try and do something when one of my friends can do it 20 million times better? And I just want to use the best musicians possible and just bring in all of my friends and all of my family and just my the biggest thing for me is that music has to win. It's like, I don't care if, you know, the song gets cut in a million different ways, as long as the best song possible comes out. I've always been like that, you know, since young. I want to work with the best musicians, and you know, if they want to, I mean, I'm not, you know, all about it has to be me. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather, you know, if it's gonna be better, then you know, I'd rather just use the people that I'm lucky enough to call my friends. You know, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, man, it's yeah, it makes the music stronger, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah, I mean,
really.
and all of these things have just happened so organically. Like you mentioned, Keon. Like I met him at the Jazz Awards, and then he was flying back to New York. But I just went up to him and I was like, I'm a big fan, bro. I'd love to work. And I took his number. And then the very next morning, I texted him like, yo, do you want to go studio? He was like, I'm flying back to New York in a few hours. And I was like, okay, what about if we go studio now? He was like, now. This was about like, we hadn't really slept. It was about 7 a.m. So I found a studio, found an engineer, got him a cab, went and picked him up, went to the studio, recorded for an hour, then put him in a cab to the airport. And then he was on the album. So
Isn't that's amazing? I mean, he must be one of the sweetest souls I've ever come across in my life. You know,
he's so
humble,
beautiful.
you know, talented, just confident, wise,
Just
everything about him.
everything you want to be around, you know, it's just people who just want to make good stuff and sound incredible, and it's just super nice, lovely energy, man. Yeah, I love Keon. That's a bad boy.
So who are the people that you know that you want to collaborate with in the future? Do you have anything on the cards that's coming up that, or you know, who are you gonna call next?
Who you
I love
gonna
it.
call?
Who are you gonna call besides Bill Murray?
Do you know what? Well, I've been really blessed enough to be able to be doing some stuff with one of my heroes, Brandy Carlisle, and she has introduced me to Joni Mitchell, and I've been going out to LA. But this is pre-Corona.
Yeah.
I've been going out to LA once a month, and having kind of like a little house get together, and you know, different artists come through. Bunny Raitt, Elton
Whoa.
John came.
Royalty.
It's just, yeah, it's just been crazy. And Brandy Carlisle and Joni's been singing, and we've been doing standards, and I've been playing the piano, and it's been so beautiful. So, and Herbie came down to one, and that was scary because he sat right next to the keys. And I asked him if he wanted to play. He was like, no, I'm chilling. He was just chilling, eating some food, but he was like sitting there just watching me play. And I was like, oh my God, Herbie Hancock, Jesus Christ. About 3 times I've played in front of Herbie, and every single time like the very first time my right leg started shaking uncontrollably, and like it was at the
Automatic
pre
spasm.
it was the pre I was with Sam Smith and we were doing the pre Grammys Clive Davis party, and then Sam was like he wanted to do My Funny Valentine in like F minor or something. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I've just been shedding this Herbie Hancock stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna get all my Herbie stuff out. And then I walk out, and then he's sitting in the front row with Stevie Wonder, Prince, Chick Corea, like Pharrell, John Legend. Everyone was there. And then all of a sudden, my foot just started shaking, and I couldn't use the pedal. I was like, no.
Oh, that's so funny. Did you tell him? Did you ever tell him about it?
No,
And he was
no,
like,
no,
"Oh,
no.
I remember you, the guy with the foot." No, I'm sure. No,
Do you
I'm
know
sure
what?
you knocked him out. I'm sure you knocked him out.
Yeah, it went well, but all of that Herbie stuff I had down, I couldn't play it, so I was like, man, what do I play now?
That's great, man.
But I don't know. I mean, I know we've got to do something with Kansas Smitties. That's definitely like at the top of my list if I get something together.
Well, I think I know the management. So if you want me to put you in touch, I'll see what I can do.
Let's definitely get that happening, because I'd love for that to be a vibe. I mean, my boy Moses boy, that both of our good friend, and Femi I've been talking to. I just want to work with all of my friends, because we all know each other, but it's like, everyone's doing their own thing now, and it's a good time to collaborate. I mean, with regards to Americans, I mean, I'm a massive fan of PJ Morton. I think he's amazing. I'd love to work with him.
Yeah.
But a big part of my thing is writing for the artists as well. So yeah, I'm always down to collaborate. But there are some collaborations coming on the next project, and yeah, watch out for that. It's coming out 5th of June.
5th of June. Okay, can't wait for that. That's going to be killer. So, all collaborations aside, one of my favorite things to listen to you do, and it's a rare pleasure, is to just play solo. And you do it so beautifully. And
Thanks,
you
bro.
you sent us through a little video of
Oh yeah, was this yesterday? Yeah.
yeah, one of your favorites and my favorite tunes for sure. And you never get to play it solo in front of me because I always jump in and I want to play. So I always ruin the moment. But I can't today. And this is Reuben James at home for the we'll put this one on the DVD, yeah? Reuben James
sure.
at home. This is In My Solitude by Duke Ellington. You're listening to Live at 5. And we are back live at 5. That was not In My Solitude. I don't know what I've been drinking today, but it hasn't been good for me. Reuben, what tune is that, and where did you learn it?
It's called Affair to Remember. It's from a really old movie that me and my mum like to watch. Old black and white movie. It's a stunning, heartbreaking movie, but love affair. Da, 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 da. Ooh! Yeah, long story short, what's his name? One of those Cary Grant, one of them type people. He's on a boat and he falls in love, and they've both got partners waiting for them on the other side when they
Of
get to
course
it.
they do. Of course
And
he
they fall
has.
in love, and it's heartbreaking. And yeah, go check that movie. But more importantly, the song as well. Nat King Cole does a nice version. Love affair.
Well, I would check it, but it's just, so hard to find the time these days, So it's time for our last wardrobe change. I want this one to take you back.
Oh my God.
You remember? You remember? RB.
I remember.
RB.
Red Bean.
Red Beanie.
Yo, so Giacomo, did you watch the Sonny Rollins interview? Was it?
Yeah, man. Yeah. This is the closest I could get to sounding like Sonny Rollins, was just putting on this hat, and that was it.
Yeah, I swear, like it was like Giacomo called me up at like 2 a.m. He was like, "Yo, I just saw this Sonny Rollins interview, and he's wearing a red beanie. I need to get a red beanie." I was like, "Yo, bro, get a red beanie, bro." And then literally every time I saw you for the next like 3-4 months, you were wearing a red beanie.
I know. And here it is. Here it is today, just for you. It's been dormant for 6 years,
Bro, red beanie. It's an energy.
So something that we ask everyone who comes on the show, which has always produced amazing answers and been a fun talking point, is for people to just describe one or a couple humbling musical experiences that they've had that have been either career affirming or insightful in some way. I'm sure you have loads, but lay one on us.
Career defining moving moments.
Yeah, any kind of time that you were in the presence, the Herbie one, sure, but it could be anything.
I mean, one of them was actually at Kansas Smitty's, which, by the way, my favorite jazz club in the world. Like, there's nothing better than playing in a hot, sweaty, underground, just like intimate room with like packed full of people. That is where I thrive. That is, that's what I live for.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I did Mo Better Blues, and I got everyone humming it. And then everyone's like going, "Is that Reuben James? Is that Reuben James?" And I went in with my melodica and I was in the crowd. And that was it was like something holy. Everyone was humming. And that was a big moving moment for me. Also, another one was I went to Dubai to support Alicia Keys at the Dubai Jazz Festival. And it was kind of my first real big step into being a solo artist after playing with Sam Smith for like 7 years, So that was really my moment to kind of shine as my own, thing. And I walked out on stage and I saw thousands of people all just going crazy. And I just did my thing. And I was like, yo, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
That was one. And then another one, I think maybe like a Madison Square Garden or something, when, we might have been playing Stay With Me, and it's just overwhelming seeing that many people. I mean, I think maybe Rock in Rio as well, which is like well over 100,000. I can't remember how many people it is, but it's the most amount of people I've ever played in front of. And it's kind of surreal, like when music is touching that many people all at one time and they're all singing the same song and they're all in their feelings, that is something really spiritual as well, and something really beautiful I've been able to experience, and it's really moving. And it's kind of an out-of-body experience. It's kind of like do you know that feeling when you're on stage and you're riding the wave? You're not thinking about lyrics. You're not thinking about sound. You're not thinking about rhythm. You're not thinking about anything. You're just caught in it, and the drummers cooking, and when you catch that wave, like the ocean, it's like when the ocean pulls you when you're surfing. It's like that is kind of what I strive to try and catch, to try and get that. I'm sure you know that feeling.
I think about it exactly the same way. When you're if you're blowing over a tune and you get to that point where everybody's taken 2 choruses and you're at the end of your second chorus and it's going really well, and you're like,
but I'm sure this happens to you every gig.
It's I can count the number of times on one hand, but you know, you get there and you think, you know what? People are with me, and I'm on this wave. I'm riding this wave. I'm at the top.
Such a saxophone player.
I don't know, right? But if I leave now, then everybody's gonna come back down. And actually, we should all stay here. And it's
Ride
that
this together.
awareness. You know, it's that awareness. And what you just, you said before, when you said, it was a humbling experience to see that many people touched by music. It goes back to what we said, when I was talking about you being somebody who brings people together, because you don't just bring musicians together, you bring listeners together, and you feel that kind of the power of a group and unifying that kind of spiritual energy. So I think that's a very deep and humbling thing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, man. Oh, thanks, bro. I mean, music is such a physical thing as well, and such an emotional thing that, like, I know there's the introvert thing. That's definitely not my style. But like, I really believe in the power of entertainment and the power of like touching people in an authentic way with emotion. And a lot of people have come out to be entertained, whether you want to make them cry, laugh, smile, take them through the whole journey.
Yeah.
And
now, entertainment is definitely not a bad word. People, even
there's
if
a lot
you're
of taboo around it in the jazz world,
Totally. But, you think of somebody like, it takes on different forms. You think of somebody like Miles, who would come out on stage and turn his back to the audience. Well, that's entertainment, because people have been talking about that for 30 years, and some people come out, so yeah.
Each to their own. Whatever your thing is, do it. But, just make sure they're with you no matter what you do. Because as much as the music is for us, whatever people are going through at home, especially now, as soon as our music's out there or in live sense, it's for the people really, and it's for them just as much as it is for us. And we don't own it anymore, man. We're just like healing people, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, man, definitely. Well, Reuben James, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We have our record of the day, which I chose for you, but now that we're talking, I feel like I should have picked another one. So I'm going to pick two. The first one is not the one I sent you, Darcy. I'm going to tell you so that you can see if you can find the picture, and then I'll talk about the one that I sent you. The first one is, this is a pretty, incredible thing that Reuben gave to me back in the day, that really inspired the whole Kansas Smitty's, kind of invention and genesis. It was the whole, you came over to my apartment that night, remember, after Ronnie's. I know, crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Came over and he played me this track from Robert Altman's Kansas City, which was a movie from the mid 90s, a kind of second rate film noir. I feel ridiculous saying this like emotional stuff with the red beanie on, but I think it kind of all settles together, people can get down with it,
It's a thing.
It's moving, if Sonny Rollins can do it, then we can try.
What I mean?
But Robert Altman's Kansas City. Now this was a really incredible album to be introduced to, because it had all of the elements of the old style, the 30s style, the Kansas City jazz, but it was all played by modern musicians that were on the top of their game in the modern jazz scene. They weren't people that were reenacting the 20s and 30s stuff. And they were, Joshua Redman, Nicholas Payton, Jerry Allen, Christian McBride, Mark Whitfield, Ron Carter, Jesse Davis, all these people just on the top of their game, getting together and playing, the music of 1930s Kansas City. So that album, I believe, is called Robert Altman's Kansas City. Did you find it, Darce? Oh, so can I point? And it's right here. Darcy O'Connor, ladies and gentlemen, the winner. So check that album out. He's got it up here. We'll put that on our playlist. But the one that I wanted to send to you, Rubes, is an album that Dave Archer actually showed me, called Louise Bonfa, Solo in Rio. And that's just here.
Okay.
And that one is solo Brazilian guitar, and it just weaves together. You know, something I always love listening to you do, Rubes, is your rhythmic feel, because it's, you know, you're a very rhythmic piano player in addition to getting around with your lines, but you always pull the beat in all these different directions, and Brazilian music is just one of the best for that kind of pocket and groove. So so people at home, you can find this music, at least a couple of tracks from both of these albums, on our Live at 5 playlist, which is available through clicking the link in the description below. We also have a new Patreon page, which we'd love for you to check out, which is also in the description below. And with that, you can help us keep the podcast going with playlists that you can download from our Archive at 5 shows on Friday and Saturday, audio versions of these episodes, and some other goodies that you can check out there. So all that being said, thank you so much, Reuben, for coming on the show.
Red Beanie. I love
RB,
you.
man, back at you. And thanks to Darcy O'Connor for everything, putting the show together. And thanks, of course, to all of you at home for tuning in. This has been Live at 5, and we'll see you for Archive at 5 tomorrow night. Thank you so much.
Bye, Felipe.
Thanks again for listening to Live at 5. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with every episode. You can also click on the link in the description below to sign up to our Patreon and find out where you can sign up for Kansas Smitty's memberships, as well as purchase records and merch. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, Live at 5.